Now you have. Okay, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Another 2 more minutes. Good morning, everyone. Hope I am audible.
Yes, ma'am, you are clearly audible.
Yeah. As the convener of this workshop, I, Harshavardhini, welcome you all with great pleasure. I take the honor in welcoming our principal, Dr. Durga Sukumar Garu, today's resource person, Dr. Abhijit Garu, deans, head of the departments, and dear colleagues to this workshop on outcome-based education. OBE is teaching learning approach focused on the student in delivering the course content and evaluation that are required to meet the outcomes and objectives. So in this regard, now I welcome Mr. Abhijit Garu, OBE expert from VM EduLife software implementation team, to take over the session. I welcome you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you so much. So, would like to request if you will please make me a host. Kranti, sir.
One minute, sir. I'm making. Sir, I done it.
Done. Okay, fine. Right. Just allow me a moment.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope the screen is visible and the voice is also audible. If it is not, please let me know so that I will be able to rectify the errors from my end. All right. So, very good morning to all. Myself, Abhijit, here on behalf of team VM EduLife. First of all, thanks to the Vignan group for arranging such type of sessions. Thanks to the respected principal sir, IQAC team for coordinating, for arranging this type of session. Right. So today we will be covering the the brief aspects about this outcome-based education, the different parameters which are the integral part for the implementation of all the methodologies which are required, as long as the COs, POs, COPO mapping, the attainment levels, direct attainment, indirect attainment, competencies, performance indicators, various types of Bloom's taxonomies, etc., etc. Because nowadays every higher education organization, it is almost necessary for them to fulfill the requirements of these accreditation bodies. It might be a NAC accreditation or National Board of Accreditation. And it is not only from the viewpoint of these regulatory bodies, but if you are willing to enhance the overall uh, quality of the system, as long as the curricular aspects are considered, so it is necessary to implement such type of methodologies at organization level, right? So today we will have certain theoretical points which are there behind this OBE, as well as many of us are very much aware about the software, how it is assisting for the overall calculation related aspects, and as well as the various criterias which are required for the documentation purpose as well. All right. Just to begin with, the very basic fundamental of this OB. This is very trending terminology nowadays in case of our academics. So if we have to define it in very simplified manner, so it is like the product is defining the process. Let's consider our traditional approaches for the conducting the overall examinations and assessments. So usually what happens that throughout the semester we are delivering the content, the curriculum, the syllabus, and at the end of the semester or the academic year we used to conduct the semester end examinations, and then the evaluation of the answer sheets, and based on that we used to calculate the results. Now the same phenomena, the same steps, if we wish to get it done through the approaches of the OBE, then first of all, rather than concluding everything after the examination, first of all, here we will decide that what is the target for the particular subject or a course or syllabus that I'm willing to achieve once I will finish the semester. Let's say, for example, like there is a subject called as a data structure. Let's say like from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. So here, if I will deliver the syllabus, the curriculum for the duration of 3 to 4 months, and after that, if I will conduct the examination, so after 3 or 4 months, what exactly the outcome as a faculty, as a subject in charge, as a course in charge, I'm expecting from my students, that we have to decide initially before the commencement of the curriculum. And this is what the basic fundamental behind this OBE. So it is exactly opposite of our traditional approach, where we will complete the syllabus, we will conduct the examination, then we will analyze the result. Like normal, like everywhere, if we wish to achieve anything, let's say for example on a generic basis in our day-to-day life, if I wish to achieve something, I will have to keep certain target. The same principle is applicable over here. If I'm delivering the content of data structure and data science to my students, so what will be their outcome, which I'm keeping as a target for that particular course, that we have to decide in the terms of the target attainment level, and that's it. So here it is written on the slide as well that it is the opposite of input-based education, where the emphasis is on the teaching and system is happy to accept whatever is the result. It doesn't mean that the earlier approaches were wrong, but yes, we can consider that this is something the enhancement, or this is something the modification in our regular approach, and this is how here the product, the end outcome will define my process, and then I will struggle to modify the teaching methodologies to increase the number of, say for example, examinations, assessment, evaluations, etc., etc. This is the basic summary or the fundamental concept behind this OBE. So like uh, the very common terminologies are here, like the PEOs, POs, PSOs, and COs. PSOs and POs and COs are very much familiar to all of us, because COs are defined and designed for our individual subject or a course. PSOs are something like specific to my department, engineering college, CSE department, Triple E department, ECE, mechanical, civil, instrumentation, production, etc., etc. So as engineering, there will be common statements, and those are called as a PO, program outcome. But as a computer science and engineering, there will be specific outcomes which will be tagged as the PSOs. Perfect. And the most important is the program education objective. These are the certain statements like which I need to achieve as a student. Say for example, once I will be graduating from my degree, so within upcoming 3 to 4 years, I'm expected to achieve these statements of the program education objective. So there is the like a clear segregation in between POs and PEOs, and is that POs are expected to be achieved and attained at the end of the 4 years of degree program, and PEOs are the statements which are expected to achieve or attain like within 3, 4, 5 years, once the student will be graduating from his or her 4 years or 5 years degree program. That's it. So these are the important pillars of this overall uh, tree of the outcome. This is the framework. Like the journey will start from the very first thing, that is the vision of the institute. What is the vision of my institute? Hello, my voice is audible, ma'am?
Yeah, it's audible, sir.
Okay, fine. All right. Okay. So vision of the institute, a very broader statement. Then we will have to split the vision into like the statements of the mission, and mission is something like which will clarify the ways for attaining that statement of the vision. So mission will give a certain methodology, certain ways that how we could achieve the vision of the organization. Correct. Then again, departmental level missions are there. So already the board of accreditation, they have given the statements of our POs, program outcomes. We will define and design the statements of PSOs as well as the PEOs. Then it will be followed by the curriculum, and then curriculum like will be divided into like certain aspects like the professional electives, engineering science, basic science, science and humanities projects, etc. And then it will lead towards the course outcome. So the journey will start from the vision statement of our organization, and the very basic fundamental pillar will be the course outcomes for our individual subjects or the courses. So this is how this overall tree diagram will be available. So moving ahead, we will have certain like concepts over here, that if you will consider our day-to-day teaching learning process. So here usually we prepare the lesson plan, sharing of the details with the students, tracking of the learners, assignments, differential assignments, followed by the examinations, might be in terms of quiz, then analysis of the particular result. Again, we used to segregate the slow learners and advanced learners, and then we will record the observation, analyze the data, then it will lead to the calculation of the outcome attainment, followed by gap analysis, again filling of the gaps, and again the lesson plan and the cycle will get continued. These are like some of the things which are necessary to follow on a day-to-day basis as long as the teaching learning processes are considered. Moving ahead now. This is uh, something important, because as the it might be a tier 1 institute or tier 2 institute. Tier 1 institutes are those colleges which are like having the status of autonomy, and tier 2 institutes are those organizations which are affiliated to certain universities. So like this is how the tier 1 and tier 2 segregation will be there, but the common things are like for both of, for both of the categories, we have the internal examinations followed by the semester end examination. Now here, even if we will consider, so just a moment, I think I need to mute the participants. Okay. Even here, if we will consider our midterm 1 exam, midterm 2 examination, whenever we are designing the question paper, there should be certain common and compulsory parameters. Like, for example, if I'm having my midterm for 40 examination, so every question should be linked with the applicable statement of CO. Every question should be linked with the applicable Bloom's taxonomies, assigning of the POs, program outcomes. Now, what are these PIs and CL? In the year 2019, AICT introduced the concept of examination reforms, and in that examination reforms, they have added the parameters of competencies and performance indicators. No doubt, till date, it is not reflected in the SSR or SAR, but the organizations, those who are applying for second or third cycle of accreditation, they must involve these parameters into their curriculum or in the process of mapping of the COs and POs. So these competencies and performance indicators are nothing but the part and parcel of our program outcomes. Earlier, what used to happen, let's say for example, engineering knowledge is my PO, program outcome. Now, what we used to do, we used to map this engineering knowledge as a program outcome with the statements of the COs of individual subset. Considering the PO, so this engineering knowledge acting as a broader level statement applicable for our engineering program. And directly we are mapping that broader level PO with the small statement of a CO of individual subject. So to minimize this gap, they introduce the concept of this competency and PI. Competencies are the part and parcel of statement of a PO. And again, the performance indicators are the part and parcel of the individual statements of the competency. So on a top level, PO will be there, followed by competency, followed by performance indicator, and followed by the course outcome. So this is how the gap will be minimized. There will be a bridging in the form of these competencies and PI. Then we design the question paper, then we will perform the question wise analysis, and finally the outcome attainment. This is how the overall standard should be maintained as per the uh, uh, common observations from multiple organizations across the nation. So many of the places these practices are I'm not saying at all, but many of the places these practices are not regularly followed. And whenever we are applying for accreditation, at that time only, then we used to map the questions with the COs and POs, and then again it creates the quantum of the work, and it consumes the lot of time as well. So a common practice should be, if we are having any examination, so while designing the question paper for that examination, at that time only, this mapping and all these parameters should be fulfilled. Done. Okay, moving ahead. Moving ahead, the some certain things about the course outcome. We are very much aware that the COs are like what the student should be able to do at the end of every course. Usually for any degree engineering or degree pharmacy, the graduate programs, they have 3 or 4 years of the duration. And this 3 or 4 years consisting of like 6 to 8 semesters. And for every semester, we have a theory and practical like courses or subject, and every theory and practical subjects or courses will come along with the statement of a CO. That is the course outcome of that particular course once we will finish with the syllabus or the curriculum. So core courses and electives nowadays are like playing a key role. Almost all universities are like providing these options to their specifically the third and final year students to apply for the electives and fulfill the curriculum. Okay, now here, this is important slide. As per the common observation, if okay, fine. So like if we will see the designing of the like statements of the CO, usually we used to frame it like the students will be able to learn the concepts of XYZ. Students should be able to apply the skills of, for example, XYZ. But here the important thing is that this is very important statement, because if we will consider the building of the multi-story building of this outcome-based education, these particular COs are acting as a role of pillars. So if our pillars are not that much strong enough, then the building will not be able to bear the strength of this particular OB. So here our statements should compulsory consist of certain parameters like action, knowledge, condition, and criteria. These are the 4 fundamentals. Action represents, see, the Bloom's level slide will be coming like within some few minutes only. So we have a cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains in the Bloom's taxonomy. It is very much important over here that my statement of CO should reflect certain statement of a Bloom's as well, certain category of a Bloom's as well. Then it should indicate the knowledge parameter. There should be a certain conditioning functions also and the criteria. So these are the four different what we can say rules or parameters we should be considered for designing of the statement of a CO. Before this lockdown, this before March 2020, AICT they have published one course like in the form of that massive online open courses books, and it was in association with IISc Bangalore, and it is the NET material. So this particular NATE, you may Google it as well. So they have given certain modules for NBA accreditation, specifically for engineering colleges. And it is very, very clearly mentioned that how we should design the CO, how we should consider the Bloom's level, how the attainment level should be calculated, what are the standards, etc., etc. So these slides are in reference to the NIT NET material only, which is being published by the IISc Bangalore. Right. Fine. So these are the certain parameters. Now, again, the course outcomes and their involvement in accreditation is observed only at the time of examination. That is not the correct way, actually. The COs, they have importance in our day-to-day classroom sessions, in recognition of our cognitive levels, knowledge categories, the POs and PSOs. So these are certain things where we should actively link the statements of the COs, and accordingly the qualitative parameters should be judged. Very important slide. Now see, we will discuss with respect to both tier 1 and tier 2. As like we all are aware, tier 1, these are the autonomous institutes, and tier 2, these are the affiliated type of organizations. Now, common thing, that is the designing of the internal question papers, both for tier 1 and tier 2. Our faculties are only designing the internal examination question paper. In case of end semester, in case of autonomous, so they have the certain structure for designing, for processing this examination. And for tier 2, the affiliated universities are designing these question papers at central level, and then they are being circulated with the individual organization. Now, the purpose behind sharing this particular slide is that if we will consider our end semester examinations, specifically in case of affiliated institute, let's say for example, if you are affiliated with JNTU Hyderabad, this is for example. So we are not getting the answer sheets of our semester end examination, and in that particular case, we won't be able to perform that question wise analysis. So here we need to follow the analysis based on the average score or the final marks obtained by the student. While in case of autonomous institute, if they have the access to the answer sheets of the student, they need to perform that question wise analysis even for the semester end examinations. This is very important. And in case of internal, both tier 1 and tier 2, it is mandatory to perform the question wise analysis irrespective of the examination. Done. So as we discussed in the last slides that how the question paper should be designed, so that practices will be followed over there. This again the same slide, question wise analysis, deciding of threshold values, deciding target attainment values for CO, CO wise attainment, student wise CO attainment for individual exam, and attainment of the end semester examination. Right. Now, moving ahead, we will discuss certain few things about these taxonomies, that how these Bloom's taxonomies are playing the role in case of our outcome-based education. Now, there are several taxonomies available as long as the like the global learning is considered. So these are being invented or discovered by the different scientists. Bloom's is a name of scientist only, where we are using this Bloom's taxonomy. So Bloom's are there, Fink, Kendall's taxonomy, etc., etc. If we will observe, then all taxonomies are attempting to give the structure to the cognitive processes involved in the learning. And now, if we will discuss the things about the specifically about the Bloom's taxonomy. This is widely accepted taxonomy across the globe, and again, it is being divided into three major subdomains like cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. The meaning of cognitive is like the person's ability to process and utilize the information in certain meaningful way. Just to brief on day-to-day basis, whatever we are learning, so this all is coming under the cognitive domain. The affective domain is utilizing the attitudes and feelings in terms of learning, and psychomotor domain is particularly focusing on the manipulative or the physical skills, like for example sports. So this is how the hierarchy of this learning, and again among these three levels we are mainly focusing for the cognitive type of learning. Majority we are focusing for cognitive type of learning. Done. And then this cognitive type of learning is being segregated as a knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. This is the original Bloom's taxonomy under the cognitive domain, and nowadays we are utilizing the revised version. And what is the revised version of this taxonomy? Now this is the revised version. Remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. This is the revised version. The earlier one is the what we can say the old version, but nowadays we are following this particular 6 subdomains of the cognitive level. Right. The picture will clarify us. So what is the what are the sublevels for these cognitive processes, as well as the knowledge categories, affective domain, and the psychomotor domain as well. Right. This is something brief about the individual level, that what is the remember. So remember is nothing but retrieving the relevant knowledge from a long-term memory. Say for example, simple, what is physics? What is chemistry? What is algebra? What is geometry? This is something like that will be coming from my memory and I will be able to answer it. This is very simple. That is the level of the remember. All right, moving ahead, understand. Understanding is something, the meaning from certain instructional parameters. Okay, so instructional messages are received during, say for example, demonstrations, performances, or certain simulations, etc., etc. This is something involved, like say for example, if we will focus on the key verbs like interpretation, classification, summarizing, comparing, explaining. So this is all will be coming under the domain of the understanding, right? Then we will move ahead. That is the application, which will ask us to perform certain exercises or solve the problems. And this will involve the execution and the implementation of the mentioned concerns. Analysis, so breaking given material into the constituent parts and determining how the parts are related to one another is something related to the analysis, like differentiating, organizing, attributing, etc. Evaluation, and finally the creativity. These are the 6 subdomains or the sub processes involved in this cognitive Bloom's taxonomy. Right. Now, where is the application of this Bloom's taxonomy? Why we are discussing this? the application is involved in our day-to-day evaluations, assessments, examinations based for our curriculum. Whatever the question paper we are designing, now see, this is very important. Why these Bloom's taxonomies are important? Because let's say, for example, if I'm having 60 or 100 students in my class, so if I'm designing a question paper where I'm giving the maximum weightage to this creativity, analysis, or the design levels of the Bloom's taxonomy, then that will be injustice to the students who are coming under the group of slow learners or the average learner. And consider another example. If I'm giving maximum weightage to the remember, understand, such type of Bloom's level, then it will be injustice to those students who are coming under the groups of advanced learners or excellent learners. So here, our question paper should be designed by considering all these levels. There should be more or less equal distribution whenever we are designing our question paper. So that part is there, and this is what the significance of this Bloom's taxonomy. Moving ahead, now here, this is the as we discussed in the beginning regarding those examination reforms and the involvement of these competencies and performance indicators. So here is the slide. Just observe this particular slide. The journey is beginning from the program outcome, engineering knowledge. Then we are dividing this engineering knowledge competency 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, for example. Okay. Now, once these competencies are decided, then again this individual competency is subdivided into certain indicators. That is the PI, performance indicator. Okay. And then these performance indicators will be linked with our various types of examinations and assessment parameters. Now, earlier what used to happen? We are just mapping our COs with this different evaluation parameter. But now here we can also involve this particular indicators as long as our continuous internal evaluation, semester end examinations, projects, assignments, rubrics are considered. This is the qualitative and quantitative significance of these competencies and performance indicator. This report will signify the quality of our question paper based on the Bloom's level. So the graph ideally should be equally distributed, more or less equally distributed, not like what we can say a strict segregation of the percentage, but it should be on an average equal, similar, considering the different Bloom's level. So this graph is regarding the Bloom's level, how the weightage, percentage weightage we are giving to the individual parameter. So this is how it is being mentioned over here. Then marks distribution as per CO, course outcome. So this is available, and this is the question wise analysis. We will also have a brief look considering the software or a portal once we will finish with the PPTs, the presentation. So it's very easy to understand. These are the students on the vertical line, and there are the questions on the horizontal line. And this is how we need to perform the question wise analysis. That's it. Now, moving ahead, the attainment of the POs and PSOs. So while calculating this attainment of the POs and PSOs, we need to consider the different parameters like our subjects, that is the courses, projects, co-curricular activities, and extracurricular activities, right? And last but not least, that is the indirect attainment of these POs and PSOs. Very important. We will consider this indirect attainment. The very first thing, why it is coming into picture. what is the necessity of indirect attainment when we are calculating the direct attainments. The necessity for indirect attainment is that if I will consider the statements of my 12 PO, 12 program outcome, among 12 PO, there are certain POs which can be mentioned as the disciplinary PO, and other POs can be considered as the professional PO. What is the difference between this disciplinary PO and the professional PO? Disciplinary POs are those statements of the PO which can be achieved through our curriculum and the syllabus. And professional program outcomes are those program outcomes which cannot be directly achieved through our syllabus or curriculum. Let's say, for example, lifelong learning, leadership skill. Our curriculum is not that much compatible to provide the 100% attainment of the PO like leadership skill or lifelong learning, and that is the reason. That is the reason we need to involve such a type of other activities, events, which will help the students to attain such a type of POs which are tagged as the professional PO. So this is again based on the surveys. So employer surveys, exit student surveys, activities, alumni, etc., etc. Then we will combine both direct and indirect, and then the overall attainment procedure will be calculated. Done. This was all the brief theoretical discussion about these POs and PSOs and the attainment level. Now I will be just sharing the screen. Yeah. So many of the faculty members, specifically those who are from Vignan, are aware about this dashboard because they are using it on a daily basis for their overall examinations, attainment, COPO mapping calculations. But if someone who have joined from the other organizations, so we will discuss in brief that how all those theoretical concepts which we discuss for the last almost 45 minutes. So how these things are possible for handling into the portal. So now this is the cloud-based mechanism wherein the faculty members are getting their logins and they are able to operate it from their side. I will just focus for the topics of the OBE and not any other. So as long as OBE part is considered, it will start from the outcome. So whatever the 12 program outcomes are there, which are there for our organization, just a moment, which are there for our organization. So we can easily update those POs from this dashboard. This is a one-time activity. Just update the statement of a PO will be available with all the faculty members in the organization. Done. Now, here the same concept is available which we were discussing, and that is of this competency and performance indicator. Yes. If we wish to involve them, then this is the panel from where we will be able to update these competencies and PI. So I will just update the statement of competency and it will be followed by the performance indicator. That's it. Okay. Then the settings for our outcome, like how we can design the level 1, level 2, and level 3, and those will be available over here. Done. This is a very basic functionality, which is the initiation of this particular OBE calculation process. Now, moving ahead. Now, as a faculty, I have been assigned the subject called as the data structure. and my target is that I have to prepare the calculation. I have to update the overall process of these calculations of the attainment of the COs with the POs and PSOs and everything which is related to this attainment. What I will do, my very first step, first of all, I will update the statement of my CO, course outcome. This is a panel from where I will be able to update the statements of the COs one by one. Then once I have finished with this, the second part will be mapping of the COs with the POs and PSOs. Now here the mapping is usually done at two levels. The first one is the target level mapping, and second one the mapping which is based on the examinations, assessments and our day-to-day evaluations. The target level mapping is something which we need to decide at the start of the curriculum, and this is what we discuss the meaning of this outcome based education, the OBE. The process, the product is defining the process. So here on a vertical line, the statement of the COs are available. Sorry, the vertical line, the statements of the COs are available, and horizontal line, the statements of the POs are available. What I need to do, just place the mapping levels. This is based on curriculum or syllabus. So it is very obvious. If the subject is data structure and algorithm, and if my first PO is engineering knowledge, definitely my subject course outcome will be able to satisfy the attainment of this engineering knowledge. And that is the reason I am placing 3, 3, 3 over here. Now let's say, for example, the same PO is environment and sustainability. Now you tell me how this data structure will be able to satisfy the attainment of environmental and sustainability. Absolutely not possible. So keep these fields as a blank. Now, we are like certain organizations, like it is done at forceful level, that all the COs are being mapped with all the POs and PSOs. It is not necessary. And moreover, it is not possible. Why it is not possible? Because the POs are classified as a disciplinary and professional, and how we can achieve the 100% attainment of professional POs from our curriculum. So that is the reason. Wherever it is not possible, keep the fields as a blank. Because for attainment of these blanks, we have the another provision, and that is the conducting the various types of events and surveys, and then we will calculate the attainment as a part of indirect attainment. Done. So perfect. This is how it would be available over here, and this is the justification. If I wish to update certain justification, why it is 1, why it is 2, why it is 3, that is also possible. Done. Then we can take a printout, and the information will be available with me like this for individual subject along with the graphical analysis. What we did over here, we have done with the target or proposed level mapping. I have decided my target, that what will be the attainment level once I will finish with the syllabus and once I will conduct the examination and the results will be available. I have decided certain target, and now to pursue this target, to chase this target, we'll have to modify my teaching methodologies, or we'll have to add on certain things which will boost the attainment of these POs and PSOs. Done. Okay. So this is the target level. Now we will move ahead for the core part, and that is the examinations. We discuss in the presentation that the examinations are classified as our internal assessments and the end semester examinations. Correct? Now, designing of internal examination question paper is conducted at organization level only. And that is the reason I'm expecting that software should design this question paper and we'll be able to get the copy of the question paper along with the analysis of the quality of question paper. How? So simply I will click here for add update, and here you can see the option. This is my midterm 1 exam, and there is the option available, that is the generate question paper. Correct? Now see here, we can design the question paper as per our requirement along with all permutations and combinations. Simply I will click over here. I will add my question. After addition of the question, we'll be able to place the marks. And now here, this is the Bloom's taxonomy. We discuss in detail regarding this cognitive domain. And cognitive domain is being classified as remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. Just type the question, the levels will be available, the levels will be selected, and then I need to map the question with the applicable CO. And as we discuss regarding these competencies and performance indicators, so these competencies and performance indicators are also available, but this is subjected to condition, because if the statements are being added from the outcome panel, then only those will be available, else these levels will not be available for mapping with the questions in our examination. This is not available like in a ready format, because if again we will consider that examination reforms document, so they have given it for probably 2 or 3 departments only, and not for the like other programs. And anyhow, this is not like the statement of a PO. It will be common for all engineering colleges. This has to be designed at organization level, and then it will be available for mapping purpose as well. Okay. So once this is done, so we have added the statements of the, if we will add the statements of these indicators, these will be available for mapping purpose over here. That is clear. Done. Now what I will expect, I will immediately expect the copy of my question paper that I need to download from this panel. Here is the copy of question paper. Here are the questions. These are the sub questions. Okay. And then along with every question, the Bloom's level, the COs, the indicators are available, right? And after this, if I wish to take a download, if I wish to take a printout, then that would be possible from the same panel. And moreover, like at certain places, like it is mentioned that these statements of the Bloom's and PIs are not involved in question paper. No worry, we can easily remove them from here as well. So this is the question paper which will be available over here. Correct, right? Till this, it is very fine. Now, once I will finish with this, I need to assess the quality of my question paper. So here is the report for quality assessment. Like as we were discussing, the segregation is available based on the percentage weightage we have given to the individual Bloom's level, followed by the percentage weightage we have given to the course outcomes, that is also available, and the indicators. Now see, I am very much sure every one of us is designing the question paper of internal examination in Word file. Now we are not living in those days where we will write on the like on paper and we will submit the hard copy to someone for conducting the examination. Everyone is designing the question paper in this like Microsoft Word or like any other tool. So if you will just add the questions over here, the report for quality assessment will be available. The report for quality assessment of the Bloom's level, the COs and indicators will be available along with the copy of the question paper, right? So this part is done. Now, once the students will submit the answer sheets, now here is the major part, and that part is the question wise analysis. So on the horizontal line, the uh, questions are there, and on the vertical line, the students are there. So if we will consider the students, number of students which are here on the vertical line, and the question. So the question wise analysis indicates that we need to update the question wise and student wise marks for the students in that examination. So this is the task which we need to accomplish, and if it is not possible to update it one by one, then we have the import export option as well, and we can easily import export the things from here. Correct, right? So this is the task which we need to accomplish, and once I will finish with this, we'll scroll it down, and here the ready-made results are available, like number of students attempted that question, percentage of students above threshold, linked course outcome, attainment, and the final attainment, right? This is how the things are available, and this is how the calculations will be done. Now, this is the exercise which we did for one examination of that subject or a course. In this way, we might have midterm 2 or the 8 semester examinations as well. So all this type of information we need to update over here for the individual examinations, and then the final attainment report will be available like this. So if I will click on this option, so this is the internal assessment report for our midterm 1, for our midterm 2. Assignments will be available. Just compare the graphs which are available on the screen. This is the first graph for internal examination. This is the second graph for university examination. The graphs are self-explanatory. Why self-explanatory? Because for internal examinations, we did the question-wise analysis. And for university examinations, we are not able to perform this question-wise analysis. And that is the reason, if you will observe, there are variations in the attainment of COs for our internal exam. And there are no variations for the attainment of the COs for our university examination. Okay, why the variations are not here? Because we don't have the answer sheets of the students for our end semester examinations, and that is the reason all the COs will be considered as equally achieved. Equally achieved. Correct? Right. Then I will scroll it down. We have a certain percentage like 25, 75, 30, 70 for our internal and university exam. Just apply the weightage. It will be calculated proportionately, and based on that, this is the final attainment of the POs based on the attainment of the COs. Correct? Done. I have finished with all the exercise related to the direct attainment of these POs based on our curriculum, assessments, and evaluations. This is the first part. Now, what next? The next is very important. And the next is the indirect attainment of these POs and PSOs. We were discussing for attainment calculation of this indirect attainment, we need to have different surveys or events or activities, and through which only it would be possible to calculate this attainment of the indirect or attainment of the POs and PSOs, for which we are not able to calculate the direct attainment. So first, there are certain categories. The meaning of categories is the type of feedback. It might be a course feedback, might be an institute, infrastructure, satisfaction surveys, career guidance, vision mission, administrative, co-curricular activities, course exits, healthcare, library, mentoring, then the parents, entrepreneurship, skill development, extracurricular, etc., etc. Okay, fine. So these are the certain types of feedback which are necessary to conduct as long as the indirect attainment is considered. We will consider one example. Now, let's say, for example, we are having one event for the training and placement or the overall personality development of the student, soft skill development of the student. Some 120 students are attending the same program, which is there for a week. And after finishing of this program, now we are willing to calculate the attainment of the indirect attainment of the POs and PSOs, which is possible through this particular, what we can say, soft skill development program or personality development program. What has to be done? Whenever we will design the questionnaire for a feedback for this personality development workshop, those individual questions should be mapped with the applicable POs and PSOs. Then and then only we will be able to attain the attainment of the POs like leadership skill, lifelong learning, communication skills, ethics, etc., etc. Right? So here, say for example, if I will click on questions, add question, so this panel will be available. So here we will add the question. Immediately we will map that question with the applicable POs and PSOs. And once the mapping is done, then we can assign these particular POs and PSOs to the different stakeholders like students, faculty members, teaching, non-teaching, alumni, parents, employer, external, etc., etc. This is very simple mechanism, but it is very much important. And again, if it will not happen on a regular basis, then 100% we need to work for those backdated entries, and which is something challenging. So you just design the questions. It is a one-time activity. Map the questions with the applicable POs and PSOs. And whenever you will conduct the feedback for any of the stakeholder, once the stakeholder will submit the response, the calculations will be available. This is as good as the simple mechanism over here. Okay, so this is regarding the indirect attainment. So the direct attainment and indirect attainment, this part will be completed over here. And now we require the reports, like say for example 80% of direct, 20% of indirect. So there will be a total 100% attainment availability. Then these reports can be easily fetched from the dashboard, that is the IQAC dashboard. So here the reports will be available, like I need to check the statements of CO, desired CO-PO mapping, course PO matrix, direct attainment report faculty wise, indirect attainment report, combined direct and indirect outcome, and the batch wise outcome attainment. So this is how it would be available for the calculation purpose, for the documentation purpose, and here we can fetch the reports for our individual subject, individual program, as well as the departments. All right. So this is how it would be linked over here. Along with this, some of the organizations are also following the concepts of the rubrics mechanism. Now, what are these rubrics and how they have to be utilized? So rubrics are basically meant for the what we can say, the qualitative evaluation or the evaluation of the qualitative parameters. Just to differentiate the rubrics mechanism from the regular what we can say assessments or evaluations or examination. So the differentiating line is that we cannot perform the direct assessment or evaluation of some of the parameters. Say for example, if some students are delivering a seminar or if they are completing the industrial internship, then it is the evaluation will not be that much straightforward as we will consider the evaluation of the any examination or assessment, because the seminar project or industrial internship, say for example, will be based on the parameters like the topic of that particular project, what was the say for example time duration required to deliver that presentation, the content of the presentation, the answering to the questions which were asked during the presentation, etc., etc. So for that particular reason, this particular rubrics are available, and rubrics are like mainly classified as a qualitative and quantitative. So in case of qualitative, here we need to mention the parameters for our evaluation, and quantitative we need to quantify them in certain levels like poor, very good, good, average, excellent, and then these calculations will be done, and we will be able to calculate the attainment of these particular POs and PSOs based on this rubrics evaluation. This is very important, and again this can be considered as a part of direct attainment for our evaluation purpose. So this rubrics mechanism is also available over here for our overall calculations, and again this will be a part and parcel of our outcome based education. So in this way, starting from like the COs, POs, examinations, assessments, feedback mechanism, direct, indirect, these all things are like linked with each other, and even the Bloom's taxonomies which we discuss, the various levels like cognitive, affective, psychomotor, and based on this the calculations will be done, the parameters will be applicable, and we will be able to fulfill the requirements for implementation of this outcome based education. Fine. Now I will be happy to answer the questions based on this overall discussion which we did for the last 1.5 hours. So yes, please.
Sir, good morning, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Yes,
Sir, my
please.
name is Dhanraju from EC department.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I have a question. So when we doing the academic planning in that section, when you define the COPO mapping, so we cannot, if is there any jumbling order COPO mapping that we cannot move it, sir. If that you provide, in this software, that will be very helpful to the faculty.
No, means you mean to say,
So
sir,
suppose if I define when I am mapping it, if it is a C30.301, so with some what to say, with some topic. If it other one is a 302 with some topic, so sometimes it's showing like a jumbling order. When I am trying to mapping it, no, so it is not mapping properly. When I publish at last, so it's showing in different way. So that is what the problem what I faced last time. Even I told to the technical staff also to rectify that.
Sir, we will check this particular. I have we'll take a note of this and we'll get back to you, sir, after this particular.
Yeah, that is giving the wrong mapping and exact value we are not getting. That is the main thing what I noticed in this software. And
So
the
it's
second
not a
thing,
wrong mapping. There must be some certain confusion. So we need to check this particular and we'll get back to you, sir.
yes, I'm not saying like it is some kind of wrong or something, but I've noticed such kind of problem. And the second one is when we adding a question paper to the result section, question wise analysis. So is there any kind of like we can we copy the paper what we defined earlier year? Suppose this year is 2022 to 2023, right? So I cannot copy the paper from 21 to 22 academic year. If that is possible, it is very easy to adding, changing the questions to the faculty.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So that is also one of the things.
Right, sir. We'll check this, sir, as well. Copying of the question paper from the last academic year to the current academic.
Yeah, last academic year to the current academic year. Why I'm asking this one is, if any faculty who is dealing the same subject, so for them it's very easy to.
Right. Correct.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
These are the two questions from my side.
Done, sir. Yes. All right. Any further questions, sir? All right. Any further questions, any queries or any suggestions? Okay, so I would like to request the concerned coordinators to take over the session.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir, you are clearly audible and I'm making you the host now, sir.
Participants can ask any doubts related to OBE process to Abhijit, sir. He will be available with us for another 5 minutes. A feedback link was shared in the group, and what certificates will be distributed as per your presence in the session. Myself, Kranti Reddy, Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, IQAC member. And I would like to thank Abhijit sir and his team for giving this session on OBE, and which will be very useful for all faculty members, those who are attended for this session. And I would also like to thank Dr. G. Durga Sukumar sir Garu, Principal, Vignan Inst of Technology and Science, and Dr. P. Harshavardhani ma'am Garu, Dean IQAC, convener of this workshop, and all HODs and deans and IQAC members and organizing committee who worked a lot for this workshop. And without this organizing committee, we are not able to conduct this kind of workshops. And I would like to thank all participants who had listened this, attended this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to the principal, sir, all the deans, respected HODs, IQAC team, ma'am as well, Harshavardhani ma'am, for coordinating this session and for giving us the opportunity to present and discuss regarding these OB parameter. Thanks to Kranti sir as well. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you, sir.
So with the permission from authorities, can we conclude the session, sir?
Yes, sir, we can conclude, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks to all. Please take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.